beautiful thing to witness, so thank you all for coming. My name is Courtney Terry. I work at the Public Library here in McMinnville, and we partner every month on the first Thursday at 6 p.m. with Dan and Nancy, owners of the gallery at 10 Oaks, to hold these poetry nights. Hi, welcome to, oh my gosh, it is 2020 already, isn't it? Happy New Year! Thank you so much to coming to our first poetry night at the gallery at 10 Oaks in 2020. As you can see, we have an extra special poetry night tonight with bass, bongos, beats, spoken word.
Whatever.
Something else as well. So tonight, the gentlemen here will be doing their performance, and then they also invite anyone who would like to read during the open mic. If you wish to have the musical accompaniment, yes you do. That is also available. And well, I'll step aside because Mike has a special announcement.
For the last 8 months, we have been doing Poetry While You Wait at Ransom's during the third on third. And we've been charging $5 or more for writing a poem as a benefit for the library. So I'd like to donate December, and then we take 4 months off, and then we start again in April. In December we earn $95.
Wow!
And what it amounts to is, we have averaged over the 8 months, $100 a month. For the library, to buy books, to do various things.
Thank you, Mike. And I will, just to talk further about where that money ends up going, we've created a special account with the Friends of the Library specifically for poetry nights. And so with these funds that we've earned, this has allowed us for a lot of the poets that you've seen over since we've started this fundraiser, we've now been able to offer them an honorarium, which is very rare for poets to be able to actually get paid to read their work for us. And so it's been, we've gotten a lot of gratitude from the poets, and I mean, they love coming here anyway because y'all are so wonderful. But yeah, so just so you know, so the work that Mike and all of the poets have done, that's coming right back into this wonderful poetry night that we have all created here. So thank you. And I'm gonna get out of the way so we can start the excitement part.
Okay. I think we'll start out with Mob, and then I'll come up, and then
You guys.
then we'll open it up.
Yes. I'll open up the invitation that anybody that wants to play bongos come up. Anybody that
We already got
wants to play bass. Always and always in life. I'm going to read some stuff that I've written before, but also one new one. And I don't know if it's quite as polished, but I do want to read something new with the rest of these. So I'll start off this one. This one's called Beat Me. That's probably the most current one we'll hear. Sherlock Holmes did not sleep. He did not sleep. He injected cocaine in the vein. Cocaine in the vein went straight to the brain. Did logic remain? Was his brain still the same? Or did he dream? I have trouble sleeping. I have so much trouble sleeping, I have dropped into a waking dream. A dream both fanciful and horrifying. For example, I wonder about the reality where a reality star is president. I will not say who in the hopes of retaining at least some small portion of my credibility before I lose it all by relating the incredible world of my dreams. Now listen as I tell you of a waking world from which I cannot awake. I look around and see the earth is flat. I look to the sky and see chemtrails, evidence that the government is controlling the weather. And if they're controlling the weather, then global warming is a hoax. A hoax like the moon landing, Gulf of Tonkin incident, and WMDs in Iraq and Russiagate, and Assad gassing his own people, and every socialist leader in the Americas, every elected socialist leader, every elected socialist must be deposed, detained, delegitimized, declared a dictator, and destroyed to spread democracy. In my dream, now here's something I just realized. I am talking to you from the past. It's a one-way conversation. I can't hear you. The guy standing in front of you, he's future me. And I'm trying to find my eyes on the page here. Future me mouthing past me's words. Past me for you, present me for me. Hello from the past. Tell you what, just to spice up things a bit, I'm going to let future me speak extemporaneously. Say something, fool. Ah, gotcha. You should never have changed. Me, I'm the important one. I was buried in the past, but now I rule the future. Look sincere. Don't say look sincere. Sorry people, a little glitch in time. It's the 13th of December 2019. That's my now. Yours is when you hear this. Have there been more mass shootings since now? More US-sponsored wars or coups? Well, past Bob. This week, Trump assassinated an Iranian general and almost started World War III. He did not consult or advise Congress. Only the measured, non-lethal response from the Iranians pulled us back from the brink. I gotta tell you, past Bob, you're a bit full of yourself. But you, being me with less experience, probably already know that. Even with your limited knowledge. You ever notice how knowledge starts with no and ends with ledge? Thank you. All right, and now back to somewhere, I'll actually find it a bit easier to read, so it may not have so many interruptions. This one's called, and these, you've heard these before, so I hope you still like them. So, when your robot wants to kill you, it probably thinks you'd be better off dead. Plead with it. Tell it all the reasons you have to live. Beg for another chance. Your robot will point out everything you have ever done wrong, the consequences of your actions, inactions, and well-intentioned screw-ups, how you carry them like a millstone and cannot let them go. Respond with all the good you've done, the lives you've touched, your accomplishments, family, friends. Your robot will recite the names of everyone you've lost, offended, driven away. Then me, you'll respond. I want to live for me. Your robot will point out things are unlikely to improve. You're in pain and will probably remain so. Certainly it is only a matter of time before even your body cries out for an ending. If you falter at this point, your robot will do what it sees as the merciful thing. So tell it what it said does not matter. You want to go outside, breathe deeply, and see the sun. Then go. Do not let the robot follow you out. Well, they don't pause it. They don't clap anything. They didn't like that. So, no more clapping until the end.
Only snapping.
Conversations with strangers. I am wiggling my foot, noticing how the calf muscle contracts, and wondering if for the first time in months I should put my right shoe on to remember what it was like. Since while waiting for medication in the hospital daycare area, the supplicants chat. While friendly nurses hover, we discuss our wound vacs, our PICC lines, our conditions. Donna is telling me about her amputation 5 years ago, about forgetting it while rising from bed and falling over multiple times, about having to watch her artificial limb where it presses her flesh, for signs of irritation, about phantom pain. I tell her how my first earthquake made me distrust the ground, how the doctors telling me that in the worst case I'd lose the foot was like the ground moving beneath me again. Somehow I always thought my body would age intact. Who will I be if not whole? Donna tells me her bone infection has spread and they're going to take a bit more of her leg. Turns out we're both having surgery to remove corrupted bone before the end of the month. Neither of us knows how much they'll take. Donna hopes she'll still have enough beneath the knee for another prosthetic. I hope I'll be able to stand on my own 2 feet. No. Because then I'll be disillusioned if you don't. All right, next one. Breakout at the Primate Research Center. The monkeys have escaped from the Primate Center. Do not be alarmed. They are ordinary monkeys. They have not been exposed to pathogens or viruses that can be transmitted to man, but they might bite. So call us if you see them. Do not get close. Do not let them take your car keys. Do not listen to anything they say. And this is kind of like my favorite one for this thing because to me this is the one that's closest to the theme of beat poetry and whatnot. So it's called Liberating Starbucks. It starts slow and sweet, a long drawn-out stretch on the sax. The chanteuse joins in without words, just blue notes. The guitarist picks out worlds and Daddy-O raps out a counterpoint to the sax. A sudden syncopation as a real gone chick offsets, emphasizes his poem's beat. Starbucks manager doesn't know what to make of the performance. He calls corporate, asks if they've scheduled something. Corporate thinks another of their pigeon has gone crazy, man. As he relates the ghostly sound of bongos, the cigarette smoke haze, the junkies smoking up, shooting up in the ladies' room, Corporate is wondering about this sudden plague of square minions and round holes going into the city lights, the bitter end of their tunnels. Daddy-O and the trio are calling back reality, drawing out the harsh clown colors beneath Starbucks' uniform earth tones. The pseudo bistro, stripped of its hip veneer, reverts to form. Golden arches rise in the parking lot. Kitty tubes maze past the windows. And the best baristas of their generation are asking customers if they want that Happy Meal grande. Daddy-O and his army, maybe a little smug, scratch another line on the sax, and head for their next engagement. Let's see, and I will do, let's see, I'll do one more, short one. Any moment now.
That was real short.
All right, at the poetry reading. Is the poet overcome with emotion after reading the last line? Is it a dramatic pause, a stroke, and any moment now the poet will collapse as surely as his last metaphor? Or have we finally, after ages, reached the end of this Victorian novel of a poem? Clap now, and even if it is premature, perhaps the poet will be encouraged to quit while he is ahead.
That guy fits in here.
Go for it.
That's perfect.
Go ahead.
That dude is awesome.
You're going to
That chair in the corner is just
Let's.
Okay,
good job, brother.
I found a poem by Lawrence Ferlinghetti, and I've been advised since it's the 21st century and it's 2020, I need to offer the staunch and heavy believing Christians a trigger warning. Ferlinghetti meant no offense. This is called Sometimes During Eternity. Sometimes during eternity, some guys show up, and one of them who shows up is real late. Is kind of a carpenter, from some square place like Galilee. And he starts wailing and claiming he's him, who made up heaven and earth, and that cat who really laid it down on us was his dad. And moreover, he adds, it's all written down on some scroll-type parchments which some henchmen leave laying around the Dead Sea somewhere a long time ago, which we won't find for a couple thousand years or so, or at least 1947. To be exact, even then, nobody really believes them. Or me, for that matter. You're hot, they tell him. Then they cool him. They stretch him out on a tree to cool. And everybody after that always making models of this tree with him hung up. And always crooning his name and calling him to come down and sit on their combo. As if he's the king cat who can blow and they can't quite make it. Only he don't come down from his tree. He just hang there on his tree, looking real petered out and real cool. And also, according to Roundup, unreliable news sources, he'd be real dead. Okay, that's Ferlinghetti. I'll do one of mine, or maybe a couple of mine, but I don't write in that vernacular very much, so here's one from one of those improv things that we do at the poetry night, the Poetry While You Wait, Poetry Demand. It's called Energy of the Heart. And it was from some folks who, it had to do with star-crossed lovers, was the topic. It's funny about the stars in the night, how funny how they seem to float and dance, yet stay so stark apart. Before their light blends together, as we watch from the second-story window of a place we happen to find looking for somewhere else. Was it an accident we found our common signs and patterns? There is a magnetism holding us together and forcing us apart. Unseen bands, forces of the universe, and the energy of the human heart. Okay, one more, and then see if I can find it. It's here somewhere. I haven't read this one in a while. Called City Runner. Used to live in Portland. City runner. He runs the same mile, an easy pace, spring and a wet wind, ivy softening brick walls and ivy wrapping around trees, cling and pull and lumpy clouds of streamers. A long strand of ivy decorates the table of a church basement for a party organized by the guest of honor. The perfume of soaked earth mixes with the bus fumes in an elixir of the city, drawn deep into the runner, then exhaled in flimsy smoke. Meanwhile, an accomplice sets down alone to a hot and sour soup in a Chinese restaurant. thinking how language with a word waits for a voice, to perform a delicate, controlled surgery of sound. A steady rain beats down on the steamed windows. The runner goes by in a foggy haze. A bird's flight caught by a corner of an eye. An old woman talks of the soaring colors of her girlhood in Antwerp. Then there is the suspect, who has forgotten innocence, who is sure everyone is truly guilty, and also afraid of forgiveness. Standing in the red shadows, an overcoat wrapped against the damp protects the suspect's soft, empty stomach. But the cold comes in out of the concrete, oozes up through the soles of his feet into the center of his bones. The runner caught in car lights is one more prey to ignore. Later, a man and woman walk by on their way to a warm room and a hard bed.
Yeah.
Nice work. Thank you so far. It was wonderful. Oh no. Okay, so the first reader for the open mic tonight is Richard. Kyle. Richard Kyle. Oh, hey! Why did you put your...
This poem is designed to fit into the idea expressed here. Thank you. A Supermarket in California by Allen Ginsberg. What thought I have of you tonight, Walt Whitman, for a walk down the side streets under the trees with a headache, self-conscious, looking at the full moon. In my hungry fatigue and shopping for images, I went into the neon fruit supermarket dreaming of your enumerations. What peaches and what penumbras. Whole family shopping at night. Aisles filled with husbands, wives in the avocados, babes in the tomatoes. And you, Garcia Loca, what are you doing down by the watermelons? I saw you, Walt Whitman, childless, lonely old grubber, poking among the meats in the refrigerator and eyeing the grocery boys. I heard you asking questions of each. Who killed the pork chops? What price bananas? Are you my angel? I wandered in and out of the brilliant stacks of cans, following you and followed in my imagination by the store detective. We strode down the open corridors together in our solitary fancy, tasting artichokes, possessing every frozen delicacy and never passing the cashier. Where are we going, Walt Whitman? The doors close in an hour. Which way does your beard point tonight? I touch your book and dream of our odyssey in the supermarket and feel absurd. Will we walk all night through solitary streets? The trees add shade to shade. Lights out in the houses, we'll both be lonely. Will we stroll dreaming of lost America, of love, past blue automobiles in the driveways, home to our silent cottage? Ah, dear father, graybeard, lonely, old courage teacher, what America did you have when Sharon quit poling his ferry and you got out on a smoking bank and stood watching the boat disappear on the black waters of Lethe.
Thanks, Dick. Okay, and then
Dr.
next we have Bruce. Are you accompanying yourself on the bongos? Okay.
I'll do it.
An homage to beat poets from the past. This is called Market Revisited. On a night walk, pondering past pathways of bearded beat brothers, living, dead, and reborn, wondering, was I alone? Wondering, would anyone offer Allen Ginsberg a ride to the market tonight? Standing beside me, thumb extended, wild hair and beard pointing out in all directions. Perhaps suggesting freedom to be attained and celebrated. Perhaps suggesting so many points of the compass yet to be explored. Perhaps suggesting someone may wish to alert the authorities. Above the roar of passing traffic, I could imagine hearing echoes of Ginsberg's rambling observations, his wake-up calls, his poignant blasts, his inflammatory innuendos, his shots across the bows, and finally, his shortness of breath after what ended up being a rather long walk toward the market. But we hadn't reached the market. We only stood at the outskirts of the outlet mall, looking at long lines of short-sighted, misguided, blindsided, nirvana-minded shoppers. We soaked up some background music, pouring out of the piped-in system. Boom, 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 like driving over railroad tracks or a lurking shark. I watched my lonely reflection ripple storefront windows, but it felt like Ginsberg's legacy had to be someplace nearby, dormant, yet poised to strike. I was looking for some kind of a sign, inquiring of those I met, lifting my gaze toward the bright neon colors. I asked, who counts pennies? What happened to the new Navy? When is it okay to just guess? And how can we fill the gap? And where does Victoria keep her secrets? After indulging in too many sweet sips and salted stickiness, I could almost hear Ginsberg rumbling in my belly. Maybe he was protesting a white sale during a red tag event on newly old blue jeans produced by a green industry, imported through a gray market, marked down on a Black Friday. Maybe he was aching for the day to come when stripes might finally be worn alongside polka dots, when imported threads might be smoothly woven into our fabric, and all of our conspicuously monogrammed excessive consumption might be laid soberly aside.
Thank you, Bruce. Okay. And it just popped into my head. We've heard poems from others and poems from our folks here. The Paper Gardens Writing Contest. Entries are due February 28th. It's a yearly writing competition put on by the Arts Alliance of Yamhill County, and it has both kids and adults. And there's poetry, and so just throwing that out there, everyone. So, okay, back on. Bonnie, it's your turn.
Oh, already?
Yes. I know, time flies when you're having fun with bongos and bass.
I'm Bonnie. Can you hear me now? Before I read mine, I want to read you what my son wrote when he was in the 4th grade, It was a card to me, and I enlarged it so you could see it. And it says love. Love is a wonderful thing. Sometimes it's joyful, sometimes it's sad, but no matter what happens, it never turns bad. I love you, Mom. That was just, I was going through some paperwork the other day and I ran across, I thought, oh, he was a poet. I didn't know it. Okay. All right. Okay, here's mine. Now you can bongo me. Yes, thank you. I am a leaf. I'm a leaf fluttering in the wind and dancing to the music of life. I catch the summer rain and let it trickle down to my neighboring leaves, adding to their pool of liquid love. Autumn arrives, and like a chameleon, I change to familiar earth colors. Letting loose my grip from above, I float softly and silently to settle gently on the ground, shielding, protecting, warming, comforting, and nourishing, giving back to the earth what had been mine for a season. Now I settle in and await spring, the new dawn, when life begins again. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. Man, the poetry's already great, and it just makes it better. Mike. Mm-hmm.
Walking into the den.
Oh, I got myself. Oh, jeez.
Cue the Smoky Haze.
Yeah, really, where's the smoky haze at? I have an eye disease, so yeah, I have smoky haze. Purple haze is what I have. No,
They still
just
make
kidding. Do they? We got to talk. Okay. So I got a couple of poems here. One of them deals with Allen Ginsberg. The other one, who? Yeah. Well, brother, we'll have to talk later over a bottle of wine. Okay, but this is one I want to do first, and because I kind of just finished this. I've been ranting for a while in my own brain about this. So anyway, let me read this one. This is called Thanks, Obama. I had hope. I had a hero. Finally, an unknown, soft-spoken talker of logic. A commoner, an outsider. I could imagine me and him sitting together at a game, sucking down a brew and a pretzel. He might listen to what I say, my ideas, my complaints. I admired him. Many a fortnight has passed since that bright light was cast upon a country that has struggled to build bridges over troubled waters flowing from deep in the underground of history. In the cesspool of racial divide, white sheets on a midnight ride, yet brave ones chose not to hide. Brave ones were not denied. Heroes for the homeboys. That was then, this is now. The hatred rears its ugly head and roars, preaching that freedom ends at our sandy shores. Pick our fruit for generations, but now you're just an abomination. We must be in isolation, screams Mr. Exceptional. Ain't no argument from the confessional. It sounds cliche, but that's okay. What would Jesus say? Would he say leave the country or cleave the country? Would he say divide and conquer? Disparate or desperate? Why? Why? Both cause cultural suicide, yet many still deride what truth tellers tell. denying, not buying what truth sellers sell. Truth tellers be black? Truth tellers be white? Can truth tellers be clear, transparent, colorless? Apparently not. Truth tellers be red, or so said the neocon talking head, not to be confused with commie red. No, red for high blood pressure. Brought to you this hour by our sponsor, Libtards, un-American through and through. Oh, hell no. Truth tellers be blue, with rainbow socks and Nike shoes and all-inclusive too. We want women. We might get around to equal pay someday. Join us, you gender-bending, text-sending, now-trending seekers of kumbaya. We must march. So is it time to beat feet to the street? Demonstration time. Come on. Celebration time. Come on. Come. Let's meet downtown at the market. Sorry, you'll have to log in to shop now. Ain't no more mom and pop now. Don't be terrified, it's gentrified. Ain't no more. Oh, thanks, Obama. Now, I have another one, and this is, oops. Oh, I don't actually need that. That was just to mark my place. Okay. This one is about an homage to Allen Ginsberg. So I'll read that. And it is... I do. Thank you. Oh, by the way, I have a new book out in case anybody cares. I don't know if this is the right spot, but you know, I'm not bashful. This is my new children's book, and it's going to be available for sale by me or on Amazon, and it'll be a copy maybe in the library. And so anyway, it's a good book to read to your kids. It's got a moral, it's got a hero, and it's got a man.
Cool.
Who's the real hero? Okay. Okay, this is called We Haven't Any Supermarkets in New Jersey, and this is my homage to Allen Ginsberg. This poem, A Supermarket in California. Being Walt Whitman isn't all cracked up to be as you think. Things people think about me change from century to century. What is a supermarket? Many will try and conjure up an image of me in their literary journeys, and of course, I'll be their mentor. Maybe the whole of America will have me on their library shelf. Life hasn't really changed that much, but all the peripheral ornamental casework has advanced. Plastic windows instead of wooden sashes, canned peaches instead of mason jars. Reading's still the same. I think of this quill pen as but a needle sewing words into a fabric that people will use to comfort their mind or block out the commotion on the subway. Inspiration is the thread, though, to connect all those thoughts together as straw in a haystack. My ears perk up in the dead silence, trying to hear a thought. A thought is only a noise that you can hear. A thought that I can hitch a ride on, like old midnight out in the barn. Then I scan the room and scratch my beard. I squint my eyes and peer through spectacles. It's a routine I have. It's a habit. Come to me, Bryant. Please, Barlow, will you be down by the fishing hole tomorrow so I can cast a line for a hungry metaphor? All I've written is all there is. Look for me in some bard's lair, off Broadway Or maybe at Ginsburg, down in the Berg. Maybe Dylan will quote me, like the mighty Mississippi, words flow, without beginning and never ending. Poets must expound. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Mike.
You betcha.
Okay. And Patrick. Also, oh wow, you're a faster walker than I was expecting. Just to let you know, we will actually be back here at the gallery later this month, January 23rd. We are having one of our paintings to poems programs. It's a lot of fun. We invite you here to the gallery. We give you about 45 minutes or so to walk around the gallery and to find a piece of art that inspires you, and then you write a poem about it. And then you can cheat. Yes, you can. Feel free to come in, browse a little beforehand. We will tell you that we won't make you read your work, and then we'll probably make you read your poem because it's really fun. So that'll be 2 weeks from now on Thursday at 6 p.m. on the 23rd here at the gallery. And I don't know if you have gotten a chance, but actually the featured artist at the moment are high school students from Yamhill County. So that's just a whole nother level of fun. But, yep, January 23rd, 6 p.m. here, paintings to poems. Thanks for that.
So if I'd walked any slower, I would have fallen down. I mean,
I know.
it takes a certain amount of speed to
right, I
maintain
mean,
balance.
now that you were up here, I knew I just had free reign to sorry.
I always come. Yes. Okay. Grand. Certainly for this first one, anyway. Okay. These are some shorter pieces, so they're under 10 pages each. This is The Volunteer. He comes to the job with a hangover, leaves for a cup of coffee at 9, a late breakfast at Denny's, a joint behind the arborvitae. Then it's back to work. He'll do some good today. Hang a poster in the bathroom, whip up some sunshine. Don't ask him to empty the cat box or find whatever's smelling up the closet. Never forget, he can go home at any time. God is just another volunteer. I'd like this one silent if you don't mind. This is my downer. A 60s education. Incense on the altar. The glow of innocence and songs of praise. The sweat of belief. His father's shouts. The pride of outrage, the thrill of protest, and the war he refused. The prison cell he chose. His father's silence. For all those things, none was more ruinous than his waking to the futility of prayer. Okay, you're welcome back now. The forbidden vegetable. What if it had been a potato in the garden? No tree of knowledge, but the tuber of knowledge. That a fat red root was the thin line between good and evil. Did Adam cook it first? A man in the kitchen on game day? Doubtful. Eve did, I'll bet. Put butter on it. Chives. Bits of bacon. Bacon makes everything better. No wonder she's blamed for sin. She made a choice. A potato. It was a potato. A potato is the root of all evil. And here we are, just a few years later, wondering, would we still be in the garden if Eve had put broccoli on the plate?
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you. And Lucy. Yeah.
I'll bow under the
I know.
thing here. Okay, let's see if I can get this clipped on there. Okay. Well, I'm just tickled that we're invoking Allen Ginsberg this evening. And I'm so glad that you read A Supermarket in California, because if you hadn't read it, I would have. Because I have written a poem that is also an homage to Ginsberg's Supermarket in California. So mine is titled A Supermarket in Oregon.
All right.
Speeding along fast food highways here in the miasma of suburbia and looking for epiphanies, I went into the Whole Foods supermarket feeling lost, looking for food, more food than you could imagine, Allen Ginsberg, poet of produce and love. What would you make of these heaps of organic broccoli, ethereal lettuces, and elusive pomegranates? What kombuchas and what conundrums? A circus of color and light, everything lusted after, delicious and there for the taking. Scouring the aisles for deals, I realize I'm not an Amazon member and fall into despair. But look, Alan, at these crowds of Americans wheeling their carts, filling them with delicacies, and passing the cashier with a wave of their phones. We are not walking, we are floating through this sea of sensuality, fulfilling every want. I contemplate the Parmesan cheese at $25 a pound and put it back, feeling ridiculous. This is not who we are, Allen Ginsberg. You, bearded instigator, described a generation of howling poets seeking salvation in kaleidoscopic Newark, Pythagorean prairies, and plumbers' handkerchiefs. What are we doing here? Let's walk, you and I, into the night, and let the mist cool our overheated souls. I'll carry your groceries. You tell me stories. We might walk all night through lonely streets, you telling me of your lost America of love, and I telling you of mine.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Lucy. Do we have anyone else that would like to read?
I have.
Oh, so earlier I mentioned paper gardens, and Mike happened to he has some of the entry forms. So,
Do you need one?
yeah, I'm tempted to throw them out so you all can grab one. Okay, good. Any other readers out there would like to? That's okay. I will. Okay, I got this. I can have musical accompaniment. December 30th by Richard Brodigan. At 1:03 in the morning, a fart smells like the marriage between an avocado and a fish head. I have to get out of bed to write this down without my glasses on. Of all the things that Richard Brodigan wrote, I know there's a lot more, but that's the one I memorized. So, okay. Thank you all so much for coming. We will be back on the first Thursday of February for our next poetry night. Hopefully we'll see you before on January 23rd for paintings and poems. Let's get another round of snaps and applause for Tom and Bob and Mike and Bruce. Wonderful. Okay, thank you all so much for coming. Have a wonderful night.